quickly, my name's Lene Allred. I'm my grandkids know me as Grandma Nay. If you want to just go around the horn and introduce yourselves really quickly.
I'm Arlene Landine.
And do you have a grandma name yet, Arlene?
No. As far as I know, I'm just grandma, but I don't get grandma very often. It's always where's grandpa.
Awesome. Well, I'm Marilee Woodfield. I'm Lene's sister and kind of co-conspirator in these things. And I have five. How many do I have? Four. I have four grandbabies, and they call me Rara.
And I'm still moving around. Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can.
I'm Lisa Hawes. I've known Lene and Marilee. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't even want to think how long ago that was. And reconnected from social media again. And I have 7 grandkids, 6 living, and they call me Gaga because that's how the oldest grandson said grandma.
What is the hardest thing about grandparenting for you? I guess
There you go. Let's do that.
Probably what I said. But I would say for me, it's being able to find the time in my schedule or to carve out time to be very intentional with them. So, because if I'm not intentional with that, my schedule is busy, their schedules are busy, and it just doesn't happen. And so just finding fun ways to do that. And then also to find time individually with each one of them, because they're getting older now. And so, their interests are diverging, and they're, just got one headed to kindergarten this fall. And so it's like, dang, I'm going to have to be out there with the riffraff during regular hours. I can't hide on, Tuesday morning activities or whatever anymore. I have to be able to brave the crowds on the weekends, because he won't be able to just go whenever I want to go anymore. So I would say that's the challenge for me is finding the time, making it very intentional, finding the time to do that.
Okay, Arlene, what do you think is the biggest hang up or
when you just have
biggest
one,
challenge so far?
When you just have one and you go twice a week, there's not too many challenges. But kind of a challenge before we got Maggie, we have been fortunate to have some neighbors and friends that the grandparents either aren't in their lives or don't have as much to do with them. So we're kind of like the adopted grandparents, or actually it's not adopted because that's not real. I have some that are realists, and that's not real. So I pretend to be their grandparents sometimes. And so it's trying to find that balance of, we love you, you can be a part of our family as much as you want, or just kind of being there when they need a grandma or a grandpa. So it's just kind of finding a balance, because I don't want to take over for the grandparents, but I know that the grandparents aren't in their lives, and it means something to them to have someone that will take on that role.
Just trying to make sure that I am still can be their one of the most important people in their lives, just because that role, I don't think that kids can have too many people to love them. The more people that can love them, the better. The second that baby is put in your arms, you're like, oh, this is what it's all about. And so really it is just, I want to keep that connection, and I have it right now, but my oldest, he'll be 5 on Sunday. So it's easy right now, but I want to make sure that I can keep that spark.
I got a really interesting email from Richard and Linda. I think they pronounce it Iyer or Air. Is it Iyer? Recently, because they're starting up a new grandparenting group. They've always been parenting gurus, but now they're moving into the next group and trying to build up some grandparenting groups with the philosophy that relationship is second most important in a child's life to that of their own parents, and that it's a significant relationship, and that the outcomes are better for both the children and for the grandparents if that relationship is strong. But he sent out an email last week that was really intriguing to me. He said, and so he's quoting an article called My 4 Fondest Wishes. excuse me, he says, my name is almost everyone, and I am 65 years or older. Here are my 4 fondest wishes. 1, in terms of how I feel and how I think, I wish to stay as young as I can for as long as I can. That really resonated with me. 2, I wish to leave some kind of lasting legacy. That
I love
also really resonated with me. 3, I wish to be surrounded by loved ones as I live the final chapters of my life. And we just lost our dad a year and a half ago. And the beauty of the time that we had with him and with my mom in those final months was really significant. So I feel like that's also important to me. And then number 4, I wish for each of my grandchildren a safe and successful life. So of all those 4, I don't know that I could rank them, but I think if I had to choose, I'd probably choose number 4. I wish for each of my grandchildren a safe and successful life. And what he said was kind of interesting, that you're going to accomplish number 1, 2, and 3 if you focus on number 4, meaning you can accomplish staying as young as you can for as long as you can, leaving a lasting legacy, and being surrounded by loved ones in the final years of your life by focusing time and effort on making sure that your grandchildren have a safe and successful life. And I thought that was a pretty profound thought. I wanted to just share that with you here at the outset, because I kind of think that's really what's driven me and Marilee all along in this little crazy effort. And in the beginning, I think it was for both of us having kind of just barely launched into that empty nester set moment of our lives. And we were sort of grasping for, okay, well, now what do I do that's important? And it's morphed more into okay, now I'm busy again. Now I'm back into another era, moment, segment of my life. And I don't have a lot of free time, but having had those few moments to kind of focus on what's the relationship with the grandkids going to look like and how I'm going to make it a lot of fun for both of us. I feel like for me personally, that was a really nice gift from the universe to me to help me think about what are the ways that I can really invest intentionally in this relationship. Marilee, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking while you're talking about that, when you think about what is it I want, what is my legacy going to be? What are my grandkids going to say about me? I want them to know that, I was playful with them, that I was there and intentional with them. I grew up in a household where there were 9 children. And so I know my mom loved me dearly, but I only remember her playing with me once. And so I want to be the grandma who plays. And so that's kind of been my focus. And so that's where I spend my energy, is finding time to play with them. And so, but for somebody else, it might be something totally different. You might be really interested, like books may be your love. And so, you may want to explore that with your grandkids and help them enjoy a love of reading and learning that way. Or, you may be someone who, wants to teach them skills or whatever. So like, there's just lots of different ways to approach it. And there's no one right way of doing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I had to laugh when you said, I want to be young, or I want to be, what was it? The first one about young enough to, I go to the gym with a couple of friends of mine, and they're both 10 years older than me, but they both just have had their first grandkid. And so, we're just sharing stories all the time. And the one of them said, I'm created a new workout, and it's my grandma workout. And so she's basically doing burpees, but it's getting up and off the floor like you have to do. So she's doing all these motions that she has to do repetitively with her grandchild. She's like, because I've got to be able to do this, or being able to lift 20 pounds up off the floor, anyway. So I thought that was really funny that was is her approach to staying youthful.
Oh,
Which is she's not wrong, right?
my oldest grandson is into, Taylor, where did you put those things I folded with the ant thing? He's into pipe cleaners. So
I put them together.
I have to, every once in a while, he'll say, can you make a pipe cleaner? So last week was a hammerhead shark out of a pipe cleaner. I'd show you, it doesn't look like a thing. And then let me show you this one. Then he was over last weekend and he wanted me to make an ant. So there's the ant.
No.
And and sometimes we'll just sit and kinetic sand is his one of, we call it indoor sand.
Mhm.
He'll want to do that, or Legos, and you know, they just, oh, but they also want to do things I like. So let's go for a bike ride. Or I have it's a Razor scooter, but it's got the little bit bigger wheels, and we'll go on a scooter ride. And they think that I am the greatest. And I'm like, I probably look, if I'm sure people look at me and go, what is she doing? You know, I don't care. It's really, and I have videos of us with, you know, so I want to be the cool grandma. I want to be the playing grandma. I want to be the one that's, you know, that I don't care if I'm sleeping in a tent with them. I took them camping. Merrily, I was like, you go, girl, renting an okay. That was, yeah. But I mean, I've taken the boys camping, and
Yeah.
you know, those are the memories I want to have, not just from them, but you know, it's that connection and that relationship is, it's fun for me to watch my kids watch me with them, because I think, man, it's so much more fun having grandkids than children. It's so much a different stress. Like, you still stress, but you don't have to worry about them getting homework done, and all of the yucky stress is the mundane things are gone, and we just get the fun, you know. And so, but it is, you have to be intentional. And so that's where being intentional from 750 miles away.
Well, I will say too, back to the number 4 that Lene had read about kids being healthy or safe and happy. So I'm all into research. I live in a world of research. And so, and as she said, it is better for grandparents. Grandparents do better physically and mentally if they have connections with their grandkids, and grandkids do as well. But another really important thing, and this is particularly as they move into teenage years and older, if those teenagers feel a familial connection, if they know their grandparents and their aunts and their uncles and who their great grandparents were, if they have those kinds of connections, they're much less likely to get into trouble, right? They have a much better sense of self if they have also a good understanding of who they are in relation to their larger family. And so I think that's really interesting. You know, it's fun to have this conversation with people who understand church and all that sort of stuff, who are very similar thought here, but, you know, just, you know, the focus on grandparents and great grandparents and who we are and who our roots are. That is something that really, really can help kids stay connected and make good choices. So that's one of the things that's been really interesting for me to read as I've been researching different things. So